Hi guys, welcome to the Parrot Teacher. I am David and today's video is going to be another conure specific video, and this is going to be all about conures, sounds and behaviours, more specifically again squealing and growling, because I'm going to do videos that are going to be a little bit more honed into various aspects of cockatiels and conures, just to sort of, I don't know, highlight various things and go into more depth about what these various sounds and behaviours means. And for conures, especially green cheek conures and crimson bellies as well, growling and squealing can have so many different meanings, and it's very interesting to look into. It may apply to other conure species. I did actually a poll on my community and I've been talking to a lot of people about this, but it tends to be green cheeks and crimson bellies that make these sounds. But you will see a bit of growling and squealing from potentially some conures, maybe even golden conures, and all sorts of different types. So this video won't necessarily be useless for you guys either. It may be just a little bit less common or in slightly different situations. Now, I picked growling and squealing specifically to start with because they are so interesting, and conures use them in so many different ways to convey so many different sort of feelings and thoughts and communication. I honestly feel that growling and squealing are probably the two primary sources of communication for these guys, and I'm going to sort of talk about each one in turn and a little bit more about what I've observed and what I think is going on there. And Scampi just wants to flip continuously on my finger, which is quite interesting, but just what they mean, and sort of like talk about what you can learn by listening and paying attention to these different types of sounds from your conures. Now, I thought I'd start with growling, because I think growling is one of those common sounds that applies to almost all conures, and almost all conures will make growling sounds. Growling is one of those very interesting ones because it can convey so many different meanings and feelings. I'm sorry, you won't stop flipping. Different feelings and emotions, and it's one of those ones to listen out for. Growling's pitch and intensity, also the frequency of growling and how often they do it, can make such a big difference in the message they're trying to convey to you or to other conures. And I feel it's one of their primary methods of communication. And listening to 5 conures in this house, you really get to understand how these little guys use growling to communicate with each other. And the way your conure may growl will depend on the context of what's going on in the environment around them and what they're trying to say to each other. For example, Scampi is a big growler, he loves growling, and if something scary is going on, you'll notice that he will growl. Pickles will also do so, in fact all of them will do so, but Scampi is probably the best example, so a lot of the clips in this video will be of Scampi because he's easiest to film when he's growling. Now, say I take them into somewhere interesting, they will growl to each other. They will growl to each other when they're exploring and they separate out. They will growl to each other when they hear something scary out the window, and the pitch of that growl will go up. It tends to be quite a low pitch, almost like a purr, when they're relaxed and sort of at ease and communicating that way. And it tends to be a much higher pitched growl when they're getting excited or there's something nervous around. Now, I'm using the term growling, even though, you know, it could be a different type of sound because it's the easiest way to describe the sound. So depending on the context, growling can mean such a wide variety of things. It can mean curiosity, it can mean play, it can mean being relaxed and at peace, it can mean even that they're scared or worried, or on very rare occasions growling can mean overexcited, but overexcited tends to fall more into the category of my next sound, which will be squealing. Now, the other sound I wanted to cover in this video is squealing. Squealing is another one of those other interesting sounds that conures make because they use it to communicate a wide variety of different sort of, I don't know, ideas, I guess, to each other. And conures will squeal in all different situations, just like people are squealing on my shoulder now. The thing about squealing is it tends to be I don't know how to describe it really. It tends to be a more excited sound, and it is used for a slightly narrower range of emotions and communication. Where you have growling, which goes right across the spectrum from calm all the way to excited, squealing tends to fall into the sort of more excited area, and they will use squealing to communicate emotions based on this. Now you may be able to hear Louis and Kipling in the background squealing as they preen, so that would be my first example. Conures will sometimes squeal when they're relaxed or preening each other, and it's a very cute sound, because if you hear it and you see them doing it, you know that they're just having a lot of fun and they're in quite a good mood. They tend to do it when they're a little bit more excited, a little bit more inactive than with the growling. With the growling, it tends to be a sort of very relaxed sound. With the squealing, they will be more active and actively preening each other. And then with squealing, you may see it when they're getting overexcited. For example, they're playing on the floor, where I've got a clip of Pickles, which I'll show you in a moment. They're playing on the floor, they're squealing, they're having lots of fun. Squealing can also even be a sort of randy sound when they're starting to get in that sort of mood. Again, it'll be much higher pitched squealing when they're about to sort of, you know, get that sort of activity going. Squealing is a more commonly used sound when your conure is relaxed or excited. It doesn't tend to be used for warning, although I have heard some conures squeal a little bit if they're surprised. It tends to be other sounds or like alarm call vocalisations. So if your conure is squealing, it is quite a good indicator they're generally doing okay and quite relaxed, because they wouldn't really squeal unless they were feeling playful, naughty, preening each other, or if they're getting overexcited or stimulated. Which leads on to the next point. So sometimes squealing will be an overexcited sound, so it's important to listen out for it. Mostly conures will use other vocalisations when they're overstimulated or overexcited, but sometimes it can be squealing. Like with the previous sound, growling, it is contextual, so it's important for you to observe your conure and be aware of what they're actually going on about, basically. Again, another sort of a caveat with this as well. When your conure is squealing, I'm using squealing as a kind of catch-all sound. Your conure may have a slightly different vocalisation for their squealing, but I like to use squealing and growling as words because they're just easier to understand for everyone. Some people call it quacking, some people call it croaking or grumbling. You can call it whatever you want. It is just the sort of same sort of sound that's different, of course, individual conures. So Parrot fans, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful and educational. If you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, or just want to talk about your conure and what they get up to, please feel free to leave them down below. If you want more conure content, we have lots of specific videos on Patreon where we post a bit of extra stuff, but I'm going to try and bring some of them over here in different ways, because I know how much all of you love to hear about conures. I like to talk about them. But anyway, in the meantime, from me, who's Scampy's flying around, and Pickles, who's enjoying chewing my chain, take care and have a really good day.